Hello, everyone. Welcome to webinar number 4, which is how to use the Toolkit online scoring system. My name is Beth Crane, and I'm your host for today. In previous webinars, we emphasized that the meeting is the basis for all the different virtual events you can create. And today, we're going to have a meeting, which of course we're having right now. And then Ari is going to, in a few minutes, introduce the online scoring system. And when you combine those two sections of the toolkit together, then you can create different types of activities and events like practice judging, trial judging, and today we're also going to be looking at feedback sessions that you can also host. So today we have our presenter is Ariadna Morones Negrete, and Ari is an ISU judge from Mexico. Ari has done over 30 different virtual events this past year. The first virtual event Ari and I did together was way back last spring, and Ari and I were both judges. And at that time, we had a basic sheet, and we were entering our marks on the sheet, and we could see everybody else's scores. So Ari said to me, I have an idea, and her idea was to create kind of a system that was more like what we normally see, where we don't normally see what other people are scores they've entered. So she said she had an idea, but at this point, Ari didn't have a computer. She didn't own a computer, and she had a basic knowledge of how to create formulas. But she was ready to give it a whirl and try and create something for scoring. So step by step, Ari added different features and capabilities to the scoring system. And I remember one day we were doing an event, and I think I was the referee. And after the event, I said to Ari, I said, well, it'd be really nice to have a button that says hurry up, like we do as a referee. And Ari said, well, I don't know how to do that, but I'll get back to you tomorrow. And sure enough, overnight, Ari created added that button to the scoring system. So the next time you press, the referee could press hurry up, and it flashed at the judge, hurry up. So they knew either they hadn't sent it or they were taking a little bit too long. So Ari's here today to explain the online scoring system. So welcome, Ari.
Thanks, Beth. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are joining us. My name is Ariadna Morones, but you can call me Ari. And welcome to the webinar and we're going to talk how to use the Toolkit online scoring system. So this session will run for about 50 minutes. And the overview of this session is the following. What is the online scoring system? How can we use it? Who is the data coordinator and what's their role during the online events? We will also make a little demonstration of how to download the online scoring system. And finally, we will go through the different types of spreadsheets that you will find there. In the webinar 3, my colleague Chris Stokes talked about the technical panel practice. If you didn't get the chance to attend the webinar, please go to the ISU Development YouTube channel where you can watch it. Webinar 3 was about the technical panel practice. And today, we will talk about virtual events using the online scoring system, where we will have not only the technical panel, but also the referee and the judges. So now I will ask you to take a moment and think about what you see in this picture. So I'm gonna tell you what I see. I see a person, maybe he's at his house, and he has two screens. And on the right screen, you can see there's a skating video. And on the left screen, you can see there's like a spreadsheet, and that's the online scoring system. And he is also taking notes. So you might think like, why two screens? I only have one. How can I do the event if I only have one screen? So if you're asking yourself all these kind of questions, I invite you to go to watch the webinar 2, where my colleague Elena Iñiguez de Heredia explains how to get the perfect setup for your online events. So what is the online scoring system? It is a scoring application made of several Google spreadsheets that can be used remotely. It includes both judging and technical scores. The different types of spreadsheet that you will find are the data coordinator, the referee, the judges, and the data input operator. But later we will go through all of them. So how can we use the online scoring system? There are as many possibilities as you can imagine, and today we will talk about some of the ones we have used. So let's talk about the events. You can have a live event using Zoom, where you will have all the officials and skaters at the same time on the same Zoom meeting, and everything is live. The other option is to have an event with submitted videos. In this case, you also have two options. The first one will be with all officials at the same time. You can have a staggered time where the technical panel starts 15 minutes before the judges, and each panel will watch the video at the same time. And the other option is that you can have all officials at different times. Each panel has a time frame. So let's say we're gonna start with the technical panel, and you will give them Monday and Tuesday to make their work. And then we will have the judges, and for example, they will have from Wednesday to Friday to finish their work. During the past year, we have used the online scoring system for at least 30 different events, including all the disciplines. So we have singles, pairs, ice dance, and synchronized skating events. And it can be used not only with officials of your own country, but you can also invite officials from around the world. And here are some examples of the different events where we have used the online scoring system. So we had some domestic events, test events, friendly matches, and element challenges. Another way to use the online scoring system is with trial judging. Sorry, again. It can be used during an event where you will have two panels. One would be the official panel, and the other one will be the trial judging panel. Or you can also have a special event only for trial judging, where you can give the judges the experience to judge and enter their marks while they are judging. Then we have the feedback sessions. These can be for skaters and coaches, or teams with their coaches, where the officials that can be nationals or international give positive feedback to the skaters and tell them what they have to improve to get better scores. And also, it can be used for officials, like having roundtable discussions or webinars. On webinar 1, my colleague Sandra Williamson-Latley talked about the importance of having a practical experience. So we can use the online scoring system for that purpose. Next, we have the online element evaluation. And the ISU Synchronized Skating Technical Committee provided an opportunity to all teams around the world to have several elements evaluated by ISU and international officials prior to the competition season. And the other way is for self-training. So as an official, you can also download the system just to practice how to enter your marks while you are judging, doing both things at the same time, correct? So today we have a very special guest, Beth.
After one of the, thanks, Ari, after one of the virtual dance events, we decided that we would hold some feedback sessions. So the feedback sessions were held 1 week after the event. Coaches, skaters, the technical controller, and the referee from the event were there. And in webinar number 6, Elena will explain a little bit more how to set up those sessions, but here we're just going to actually hear a little bit about the benefits of holding feedback sessions. So Maurizio, if you could join us now. We have Maurizio Margalio, who many of you know as a former world level competitor and world champion in 2001 in dance. And he was at the virtual competition and participated in the feedback sessions. And Maurizio is a ice dance coach now. And he's going to join us. And we wanted to hear a little bit about the feedback session. So Maurizio, are you there online with us? Oh, good.
Yes. Hi,
okay.
Beth.
So, hi. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about being in the sessions and how you find feedback sessions helpful for you as a coach, and also how you find feedback sessions helpful to your athletes.
Yes. Well, first of all, hello to everybody. Very happy to join this little webinar. Our experience was about a virtual competition. So I had 4 couples doing the event. First of all, right after the event, we were able to have already the video with all the programs and also the PDF. So we were immediately, like after a few minutes, already aware of what we can talk the next day in the feedback. So the following day we did the feedback, and we participated in separate rooms in Zoom. So each couple had the privacy to be with the coach and with the technical panel and one of the judges, going a bit through starting from the PDF, and then in case something was maybe to be explained a bit more, with the possibility to watch together the element that we were talking about. I think this was a great tool because the skaters had not only the normal explanation we can get in a competition, which is a verbal explanation, just watching a result or the PDF, but they had immediately the feedback on the video, so they can analyze together with the panel or listening what the judges were telling about it. And participating in this way, I think, made them a lot more aware of why it was the decision like that, and what they can do to do better. So personally, I felt this process very, very nice for the coach and for the skaters. My skaters were very, very happy, and they appreciated a lot the fact that they can see what they were doing and commentating with the panel and the judges, the referee actually in that case. Personally, I think this is a great possibility because now if I'm thinking about, I think the panel was from Canada and Poland. The referee was from Switzerland. Of course, we are in Finland. So the whole thing is amazing that, of course, staying in our place, we can have such a great feedback, very precise. So in general, I would say that everybody really appreciated that.
Well, thanks, Maurizio. I forgot that we had the video, and I remember I was the video replay operator, and I remember how much I learned about ice dancing from you, the skaters, and the controller. So it was a mini seminar for me during your feedback sessions. I had one more question for you, and maybe you can take a minute or two just to explain how you think the virtual feedback sessions are a little different than a live feedback session.
Well, of course, it depends always how we conduct the feedback session live. If we have a lot of time, it's possible to do after an event or a competition. So generally, the skaters can go back to the ice and they can, for instance, show again something or talk with the panel and the judges and show one more time. Now, the problem is that they will show something that is not exactly what they did in the program or in the competition. So very often, this is a very important moment, but it also requires a lot of time, requires time on ice. So it's not possible in every event. I think the difference with the online feedback is that basically you can do whenever and you can do in any event. So I think this is the power of this tool is that, for instance, if the same day or the following day, there is no time, you can set in 3 days a meeting and the skaters still have the time to listen and to do something better. So I think in that case, the biggest difference is that you can do pretty much when you want and you don't need to book extra time and extra ice, which cost a lot. Mm-hmm. This is the main, I think, the main difference. And the other thing, as I told you, I think in any case, the skaters and coaches feels very good when panel and judges are giving a feedback. It's always a very important moment because they skate many weeks and many months preparing events, and very often nobody can tell exactly what's going on other than the coach. So every kind of feedback, live or online, is really appreciated, and usually they have a great motivation right after to do better.
Well, thanks very much, Maurizio. We certainly appreciate you coming on and giving us your feedback on feedback sessions. So thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about who is the data coordinator. So the data coordinator is the person in charge of the online scoring system. They need to be in touch with the event coordinator and the local organizing committee to get all the information that is needed for the event. And they also need to download the online scoring system and enter all the information into the system. They also need to read all the how-to on the e-learning virtual events toolkit, and you will have the link that will send you directly to the virtual events toolkit. And be sure they understand everything that is there. Why? Because the data coordinator needs to know everything about the online scoring system, because he needs to help all the officials in case they have any problem with the online scoring system. And because he's also in charge of the rehearsal, it is highly recommended to have a rehearsal with all the officials to make sure they understand how the system works and that they have the right setup for the event. So now I will show you where to find all the information on the e-learning website, and we will also download one system. So here you will have also the link. At the end of the meeting, we will send you the PowerPoint, so you will have these links. So here we go directly to the virtual events toolkit, and on the left side, you can see the table of contents. If you scroll down, you will find all the information we have for all the different webinars we have done and the ones we are having in the next 2 weeks. And if you go to the 5A Essential Resources for Live Events online scoring system, if you click there, you will find all the different information and the different spreadsheets that the online scoring system has. So here we have how to download the online scoring system. So I'm just gonna click there, and it will open all the information of how to download the online scoring system. But we're not gonna read everything today. So I'm just gonna scroll down here and go where it says click here to download the online scoring system. So I'm gonna click there and it will open another window in your browser. And this is how it looks like to download the system. So the first thing we have to do is enter the event name. So today we're gonna call it Virtual Events Toolkit Webinar 4, okay? Then the category, it's where you have to write if it's a novice, junior, senior, or if you have a domestic category like, I don't know, basics or no test or preliminary. But today, because this is only an example, I'm just gonna write example, okay? And then we have the segment that you have to say if it's a short program or a free program or a rhythm dance, and if it's pairs, singles, ice dance, or synchronized skating. So today I'm gonna choose men, short program, correct? And then you have to choose how many skaters you will have in your event. So we have 5 skaters, 10, 20, 30, and up to 40 skaters. So for today's example, we're gonna choose 5 skaters, okay? And you will get a following notification that says copying. And this process can take several minutes. So instead of just waiting for the process to be finished, we have another very special guest, Beth.
Okay, thanks, Ari. So today joining us is Kathy Bosworth, and Kathy is a national level accountant in the US, and she has been involved in a number of virtual events in the US this past year. And we decided that we would test out virtual trial judging. And I asked Kathy if she would be the data coordinator for our event. And I was trying to find someone who had some experience in setting up events, but who really hadn't looked at the toolkit yet. And so Kathy came to mind, and I asked her if she would help us out, set up this trial judging. So I do want you to know that Kathy lives in Oregon, a couple of 100 miles away from me, and I'm in Washington. And then the trial judging we set up for pairs was for some judges in British Columbia. And then we also had some trial judges joining us from South America. So Kathy set that up for us. And Kathy, if you're there, if you could come on and join us. And I just have a couple of questions for her in her role as the data coordinator.
I am here.
Oh,
Hi,
there
Beth.
you are. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Yeah. So I know you're experienced as an accountant in the US, and I was wondering if you could let us all know, was it pretty straightforward? I know you had access to the toolkit and there were directions in there and there's videos. So how did you go about setting up or downloading the system? Was it pretty straightforward, and how did you go about that?
Yes, it's very straightforward. I actually, Ari had set everything up. So all I really had to do was add the skaters and the judge names. So I kind of came in the middle of the build. But it was very straightforward and was different than what I was accustomed to. So it took me a minute to kind of wrap my head around what was going on, because I was doing a different type of Google-driven virtual competition. So I had to kind of figure out where it was at, where I kind of was coming into it. The rehearsal went really well. I really suggest rehearsals are mandatory. Because we had some issues with the judges not having their Gmails or their Gmails attached to their normal email addresses, and that was a bit of an issue. But once we finally got it all, but by doing it during the rehearsal, we got all of those kinks worked out. And so when we got to the actual competition or the trial, we were trialing a competition, things went very smoothly. And from a data operator perspective or coordinator perspective, once you get it set up, you're really just kind of monitoring to make sure nobody's having any technical issues. Other than that, it's very straightforward. The instructions are very clear.
Good.
And if you got any problems, you just email Ari.
That was my third question I was going to ask you. The next one was, how long did it take you to set that up? I remember you said, well, Ari had done some of it for you, but then you came in, and what time frame are you talking about?
Yes, because we had a limited number of skaters, it didn't take very long at all. I think one had like 9 and one had like 11, I think. So it was not very time consuming at all.
Yeah. Definitely in pairs. We don't have like 160
Right.
or anything like that per event.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And my other question was, if you ran into any questions, I kind of recall maybe there was something you needed to ask, and then what did you do to solve that?
So I went back through the instructions to make sure that I maybe didn't miss something or didn't remember something. And then when I was just totally going, okay, my head's not wrapping around this, I just emailed Ari and go, okay, this is what we're running into. How do we solve it?
And I presume she solved the problem, because I remember trial judging without a hitch.
Yes. And
okay.
Yeah, I mean, taking into consideration time zones and things like that, but yeah, it's very, very responsive to any issues.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, but there weren't that many. Yeah, the big one was the email and getting all the links and stuff to the judges.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you so much for volunteering to do that for us. First of all, to give us that trial judging experience at a live event. Basically, we were watching it on live, and that was great. And then we were trial judging. So thanks very much for helping us then, and also coming on today. And hopefully we'll see you at a real rink soon somewhere around
One
here.
of these days. So all right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Bye.
Over to you, Ari.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Beth. So as you could see, now you get the online scoring system has finished to get download. So you will get this notification that says, congratulations, you successfully download the online scoring system to your Google Drive. So we are gonna click here where it says Google Drive, and it will send you directly to your Google Drive account. So down here, we have the folder that we just created with the online scoring system. So what you will have normally is first the name of the event, then the category, and then the segment. So if you remember, the name of the event was Virtual Events Toolkit Webinar 4. The category, we entered example, and the segment was a mentored program. So that's how you will find the folder name in your Google account. So then you click the folder and you will get all the different spreadsheets that the online scoring system has. And we will go through them, how they work, in a few minutes. But now we are going back to, sorry, okay, there. To Beth, are there any questions, or Sally? Or Elena?
I see Elena's hand is raised, so I think she must be getting some questions on the chat.
Yes, thank you, Beth. There's a question in the chat that says, what if there are less than 5 skaters when you are selecting that option to download the system?
Okay, yes, we will go through that in a few seconds because the example I have, it's only with 3 skaters. But if you have between 1 and 5 skaters, you choose the 5 skaters and download 5 skater. It doesn't matter that you only have 1 or that you only have 4. And if you have, I don't know, 18 skaters, then you have to download the upper number. So it will be 20 skaters, okay? And if you have 35, then you choose 40. So, but all this information is, again, on the e-learning virtual events toolkit. So you will find all these step-by-step on the e-learning, okay?
Okay, good. And maybe we should check with Sally as well. Sally, did you have any questions coming in on the YouTube channel?
No, not yet, but I'll let you know certainly as they start to come in.
Okay, thanks. Okay, back to you, Ari.
Thanks, Elena. Thanks, Sally. So now we are going to see all the different spreadsheets that we have. And the first spreadsheet is the data coordinator spreadsheet. So I have here an example, right? So as you can see, it takes a few seconds to open all the spreadsheet, but it doesn't take like hours, it's just a few seconds. So on this spreadsheet is where you will enter all the information that you have for the event. Remember I said that you have to be in touch with the event coordinator and also with the local organizing committee, and you will get there all the information that you gathered there, you will enter here. So first we have the event name or logo. You don't have to have a logo, but if you have it, it looks very nice. But if you don't have it, you just have to enter the name of your event. So what we are gonna do today, it's just enter the name of the event. So it was Virtual Events Toolkit Webinar 4, right? And then we have to enter the same one here. So you can just copy paste. So I'm just gonna copy and paste the name here, okay? And because of the lack of time, and I cannot go through all these different things step by step because otherwise it will be very long. I'm just gonna enter kind of quickly the information, but I will let you know what I'm doing. So we have the category, so I'm just going to choose today junior. Then we have the segment that you can choose ladies, men's, pair, size, and synchronize. So today we decided to go to mentored program. Then the number of judges, I'm going to choose only 5 judges. And the number of components, we are having 5 components, okay? Then on the next tab, you have the judges spreadsheet. So it's the officials. And here you have to enter the officials' names and the country. So it's just everything is already set up and you just have to enter the information. Then we have the next tab with the starting order. And here you have to enter the name of the skater or team and the club. The next tab will be the results. Of course, this is empty because we haven't entered anything. And all the next tabs will be the protocols. So it's the PDF that we are used to. It looks kind of the same, but there's a few differences, but you will see that on, again, on the virtual event toolkit on the e-learning, you will find all this step-by-step information. Okay. So next we will go to the data input operator spreadsheet. And on this spreadsheet is where the data input operator enters the elements called by the technical panel. And remember, that it is not necessary for this person to be an ISU DRO. And this person just needs to know the codes of the elements for each discipline, or depending which discipline you are gonna use the online scoring system. So now I'm gonna show you how to enter some of the elements. But remember that you will find all the information on the e-learning toolkit, okay? So on this blue column, you can see that it says just for judges. And this column is only for elements that have levels. So let's say spins, steps, lifts, all the synchronized elements, and you must write the element code without the level. So I'm gonna enter here a seat spin, okay? So we have seat spin, okay? And you don't enter the level. Why you don't enter the level? Because if you enter the level or you forget to fill in this column, the judges will be able to see the level of the element. And as judges, we shouldn't be able to watch the level, only the code. Okay, so it is very important to use this column and not enter the level here. The next three columns are the element columns, so it's these ones. So here I'm gonna enter the same seat spin, but let's say it was a level 2. Okay, so here you enter the level of the spin. Now I'm gonna have a jump combination, let's say. So I'm gonna enter a single axle. And then on the next column, you have to enter the next jump. So I'm gonna enter here a single loop. And on the next column, you enter the single toe loop. Sorry. Okay. So as you can see here on the base value, the base value it's being automatically calculated. So now we are gonna enter a step sequence. And if you remember, we said that all the elements with levels go in the blue column first without the level. So we have here the step sequence. And on the next column, we enter the same code, but with the level. So let's say it's a level 1. So in a few seconds, you will see here how the base value will be calculated. So there you have that as step sequence, the base value is 1.8. Okay, so the technical panel follows all the regular process. And if there's a fault, you can enter that here, or any technical panel deductions, you have here all the things to enter that. And once the process is finished, the technical controller will authorize the elements. So if the elements is authorized, you click here, and then you have to click TP means technical panel, correct? So that the technical panel is ready to go with the next skater. So again, I know this was quite very quick, but you will find all these steps by steps, and I'm gonna say this every spreadsheet because every single spreadsheet has a different how to use. So you will find all these on the e-learning virtual events toolkit. Okay. So we finished with this spreadsheet. So now we will go with the judges spreadsheet. So when it says working, it's getting everything download. Okay, so we will have to wait just when it's finished and we can keep going now. So here the judges can see the elements that we just enter. And as we said, the judges, we are not allowed to see the level of the elements, right? So that's why we cannot see it here, okay? So to enter the GOE, you have this column. So I'm just gonna enter the 3 GOEs. And in the e-learning, we have a video also of how to use all the different spreadsheets. So you can watch the video and you can also read the information and you will find everything there, okay? Once you finish with the GOE, we go to the program components. And let's say you have an event with only 2 components, and let's say it was skating skills. So I'm gonna just enter skating skills, and it was also performance. So just skip transitions and you just enter performance, okay? So if you are only in your country or in the specific event, you will have, you only want certain components to be used. You just have to enter those components. If you remember, we choose that in this event, we were going to use 5 components. So I'm just gonna enter all of them to make it work. Okay. So once the judge finished with the components and with the GOE, we have here that says elements authorized. So normally this will be white. So you have to be sure that if it's green, then everything is okay. And if you are okay with your marks, then you just have to send your marks. Okay, and you are ready to go to the next skater as a judge. Okay, so the next spreadsheet we have is the referee spreadsheet. And on the first tab for the referee, we have the list of officials because it's important that the referee has everything. So we have here the list of officials. And then on the next tab, he will get the, they will get the starting order. So here it's an example that I already have only 3 skaters, okay? And the next tab, it's more or less the same as the judges, okay? So they enter the lift, but we also have some referee deductions. But again, step by step, go to the e-learning and read and watch the video of how to use the referee spreadsheet. But what I'm gonna show you today, it's what we call the referee tab. So I know this looks crazy, but we will go through a little bit of this, okay? So on this screen is where the referee can monitor if the judges enter all their marks, and also if the technical panel authorizes the elements and if they are ready to start with the next skater. So you remember we enter only 5 judges, so that's why we only have 5 judges in green. So we don't have judge 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's why we have them in red color. So on the first example, we have that all the marks are in because everything is green, correct? And at the end, we have the TP that we said is the technical panel, and they authorize the elements and they are ready to go to the next skater, okay? But here on the example number 2, we have, let's say, judge number 2, it's missing a GOE, and judge number 3, it's missing a component. So we have these messages that Beth was talking about, and we have these little messages that you can send to the judges, and we have marks received in case you have this staggered time or like different times between giving them like 3 days. So you just let them know that you received your marks and that everything is okay, correct? Then you have send marks, missing marks, and hurry up. So because this case, they are missing a mark, you send a missing mark message, and once the judge receives that message, they will enter the mark and everything will turn green. Unfortunately, I don't have any judge doing that right now, so it won't turn green, but it's more or less just the example. But on the video, on the e-learning, you will find it and everything will work through and it does turn green, okay? And on the example number 3, we have the judge number 4. He entered or she entered the marks, right? But didn't send the marks. So as a referee, you don't know if the marks that he entered, he is ready to send that, or if he's going to change, or she, sorry, going to change any of the marks. So you need to send a message saying, please send your marks. And as Beth said, we also have the hurry up, that it's the one we are used normally. But here we decided that it was important to say what was going on, because we don't have anyone saying in your shoulder like, hey, you are missing something, right? So we needed to send this message in a certain way, okay? So now the last thing we have is the protocol. So how to make the protocol once the event is finished and you have all the marks and everything in, on the data coordinator spreadsheet, you can make a PDF. So here it's an example of how it looks like, the protocol. Okay, so first you can have the officials. It will be filled with the name of the officials and the country. On the next page, you will have the starting order with the name of the skaters and their clubs. The next one will be the final results, okay, and it's in order. So we have Sally Salka win the competition, and then we have Beth Lutz, and last we have Elena Axel, okay? So, and finally you will get the PDFs, and that's what we are used to. There's a few differences, like here, I'm gonna just make it a little bigger so you can see. Okay, so we are used to have this single axle plus single loop plus single toe. So just imagine you have the plus, but I think you can see that it's a single axle, single loop, single toe, right? So this is it. This is more or less how it looks and works, all the online scoring system. So it's time to see if there's any question.
Okay, I think now we're going to have, before we have a couple of questions, we're going to have a special guest. And joining us today, we have a national judge from Peru, and it's Jorge Ormaeche, and he participated in a lot of virtual events this year, and he helped organized many virtual events this season. So on the side, I know he loves designing logos, and he designed many logos for a lot of virtual events this year, including the one for the Toolkit. So have you joined us now, Jorge?
Hello everyone. Greetings
Great.
from Lima, Peru. Hello.
Good. So I have a couple of questions for you. Since you've done so many different events and in all kinds of positions, the first question I wanted to ask you about was the online scoring, which we've just seen, because I know this began as a spreadsheet, and I'm pretty sure you were the one who created the first spreadsheet that we used at the first virtual event. So I'm wondering what motivated you to create the spreadsheet, and how it might have changed over time.
First of all, thank you, Beth, for inviting me for being part of this webinar. And regarding to your question, during last year, because of the pandemic and the impossibility to train on ice, we had the need to keep our athletes motivated. And we organized a spin challenge in collaboration with a club from Argentina. For that competition, we had only one judge and one TS. And I remember that the TS put the codes for spins in the Zoom chat box. And I was the only judge, and I put the GOE in an Excel sheet to calculate the final marks. After that, we decided to organize the second edition with athletes from all South American countries. I remember we had 72 athletes competing in that competition, and we had more judges and a complete technical panel. So we had the need to create something useful and above all, easy to use. I remember that I invited you to this competition, and I think that that's when this story began. There have been difficult changes. Initially, it was a simple online spreadsheet where the judges put their marks after the technical panel named the elements. But at that time, the judges were able to see the marks of the others. Then we organized or designed a system so that each judge has their own tab in a spreadsheet, but it was still possible to see the marks of the other judges if they went to another tab. Now the system has the possibility that each judge and the referee has their own spreadsheet. So it is especially useful, for example, for trying judges. So yeah, the things are changed over time a lot.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know about that very first one where you were putting, the tech panel was putting their call in the chat, in the Zoom chat, and then you were doing it on a spreadsheet. I came in on the next step, but that's really interesting to hear how it really started from the very first time and how it's changed over time. So I have another question for you, and that these are the different roles I know you've done. I know you've been a trial judge. I know you've been a judge. I know you've been data coordinator. I know you've been organizer. I know you've been host. So I'm wondering what benefits you see with the scoring system for the skaters in your country, being in Peru. So for your skaters, and also for you as an official and a trial judge. So can you talk a little bit about that, some of the benefits that you've seen?
Yes, of course. I know that this period is being extremely challenging for everyone, but especially for us in Peru. The only ice rink where our athletes train regularly has closed, and they still have nowhere to do their training on ice. In this context, the Toolkit has allowed us to continue having ice competitions regularly in order to evaluate the improvement of our athletes with the help of international judges officiating from their homes. We have already had several competitions held with this system last year, such our nationals and the virtual of ICE Pan American Championship, with more than 200 skaters from Americas. For most of them, it was the first time having the feedback from ISU judges. And I know that that experience was extremely important for encouraging them to continue training. For me, as an official, it was an extraordinary opportunity to have experience judging pairs, for example. You know that judging pairs is so difficult, and we don't have a pairs competition in South America. And on the other hand, taking part in several trial and judging sessions, I have the possibility to get the necessary feedback from judges with more experience. For example, I participated in a trial judging and a seminar with some judges from South America with the leading of Mrs. Gail Tanger. And we had the opportunity to compare our marks and have the richer discussion after the judging. This kind of experience was very, very useful for me to improve my judging skills, skating skills, and be more confident with my marks and be the judge the athletes from Peru deserve. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Jorge. You've had such vast experience in so many different roles this year during our virtual event. So I really appreciate all the work you've done to keep things going during this year, and also for joining us today. So thanks very much, Jorge.
No, thank you very much, Beth, for inviting me. And yeah,
We'll see you
we
again.
will try to keep working.
Yeah, great. Okay, so now I'd like to, I've seen a number of questions come in on the Zoom chat, so maybe we could go to Elena first to give us some questions. I think most of them are directed to Ari.
Yes, we have pretty interesting questions here. So the first one says, will the spreadsheet work and give you a result if you only do the technical score and not the components?
Yes, you can, when you go to the data coordinator, you can choose 0 components. So you can have only the GOEs and you will still get the information. Or you can also get only the base value of the elements without the GOE, but you will get only the base value. You won't get any other kind of protocol, right? It will go like with numbers or something saying something is wrong because you haven't entered the GOE, but you can get like these 3 options.
And Elena, can I add something to that? Because when I saw that question come in, it made me think of us when we were trial judging, and we were trying to use to see what is the fewest number of people that we could use and still have the system to work. So normally at a trial judging seminar, you don't have a full tech panel there with you. So we decided we would have the data input operator or me as a controller enter the elements and then the important symbols that we would need for judges. So we added an under or down or an edge so that judges could make the proper reduction for their GOE. So I guess it's both sides of the question. You can use it in multiple different ways to meet your needs and use just the number of people you need. You don't need a complete panel to do something like trial judging. Okay, so Elena, you have more questions?
Yes, there's a question that asks about communication during the event. And I would like to say that webinar 6 is coming 2 weeks from now, and that will cover how virtual events are organized including communication channels between panels. So I will invite Anna to check that webinar to see how communications go during the virtual events, if in case there are any technical problems. And the next question to Ari is, does the system work platform independently? For example, Windows and Mac?
All the system, it's built on Google Docs. So it doesn't matter if you have Mac or if you have a regular computer. What you need is Google Docs. So we will say that it's very important for you to get Google Chrome. So as a browser, we find that it's the better way to watch the videos, and also because all the system is in Google, then I think it's important to use also Google browser, right? So it doesn't matter what you are using, if it's a Mac or not, but just to have Google Chrome. You have any other question?
Sally, were there any coming in on the YouTube channel?
No, but there's one that came in that has a couple of parts. So this from Slobodan. I'm now brainstorming, but if I'm not wrong with this approach, we could avoid usage of a lot of paper in regular competitions. I've been contemplating for a long time how to reduce paper waste during the competition. And Slobodan, we know that that's the case, those of us who've been on panel when you're around. And then Lise Rista Jensen replied, I think we should always do on paper as well. When I've done the virtual events, it's always with paper backup. And in my case, I always have the paper as well. In fact, in some cases, I think I'm using more paper. But Ari, maybe you've got some advice for us on that.
Yeah, well, the problem with any online event is that you rely on your internet, right? So you never know if the internet is going down or if they are gonna have a storm and you have no electricity or anything, right? So as Elena said, we will have the webinar 6 and she will explain there what happened if you get disconnected. So as Lizzie said, it's very important that you also have your notes on paper. Maybe you don't have to use one full page for each single skater, right? So maybe you can still get less paper and using in the same paper, in the same piece of paper, 3 or 4 skaters and use it in both sides. So there's a way to not use that much paper, right? But still we will use it. And it's important because if you get disconnected, you can send the marks in some other way and somebody could help, okay? Any other question?
Doesn't look like it, but if you are thinking of any that come to your mind later, you can see right there on the screen now that there is an email that you can send them to Ari and it'll go directly to her. And I know Ari gets right back to you. So if you've got any more questions after you've looked at the toolkit and after you've looked at her section on the toolkit on scoring, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer your questions and get right back to you. So Ari, I want to say thank you so much for all your work on the scoring system this past year. It's just amazing when I heard today that it started by one spreadsheet with one judge with someone putting the level in the chat, and now we've got everything you showed it today. And I know it's been a step-by-step process, and you put a lot of work into it. So thank you for all your work, and thank you very much for joining us today. Our next session As you can see, it's going to be on video recording for virtual events, and you're going to get some tips and instructions on recording. It might be for an event, it might be for tests. I know here we've got skaters doing virtual tests, so maybe there's someone at your club who needs to know how to record virtual events and get some tips. And we have Luca Dumate is going to be coming and sharing his information and all the work that he's been doing in the past year to give us some great instruction and tips on how to get the best recording for the skaters. So I would like to thank everyone for joining us today, and we hope you see you at our next event. Virtual event. Thank you.